All right, shalom, everyone. Interesting story from Rabbi Israel Me'afta. Ohev Israel was known as the Ohev Israel. So he says there is a mashal. This person was going, very poor person, was walking on the way. He gets to this mountain, and he was trying to climb the mountain to get to some village. And he finds cute-looking rocks, and he picks them up, puts them in his bag. And he's going and going and going. On the way, this bag was too heavy on him. And he throws these rocks. He says, you know what, I thought I'm going to have fun with these colorful rocks. He throws them away. And continues in his way, going. He finally gets to this little village and he wants a place to sleep. And the guy says, buddy, you got to pay up, in advance. And he looks and looks, he can't find even a penny. He has no money. And he says, I'm so sorry, but, and as he reaches, he finds a little piece of rock that he had in his bag, reaches out for it. He says, all I have is this. The guy says, ooh, this thing looks good. Let's go to the diamond dealer. So they go to downtown LA, to the diamond dealer, and the guy tells him, I don't know, I'll pay you $1,000 for this. And the guy is like in shock. Like this, the guy thinks, the dealer thinks, maybe this guy knows really how much this thing is worth. He says, I'll pay you $3,000. And the guy just faints. They wake him up and, hey, what happened to you? He says, truth be told, I was passing by and I found a bunch of these. And I figured they're useless, so I threw them all out, And now you're telling me that, this is how much it's worth. So he says, Rabbi Israel after, he says, if Am Yisrael knew how much, even just one cleaning that you do for the kavod of Shabbat, you polish your shoes for Shabbat even, what it is, how much it's worth, you're going to be crying like this guy. Really? Is this what it is? How much more should I have done for the kavod of Shabbat? How much more I should have accepted upon myself to do more and more and more and more? And he says a pasuk. The pasuk says, "Ma yafu pa'amayich bana'alim." How beautiful looking are your feet in the shoes? So there's a midrash that says, and that's what it says, that they're gonna be crying on that day. This is what's the connection? The midrash. This is a midrash quotes this pasuk about Shabbat. It says this based on this story, that to beautify the home, to beautify everything, for the kavod of Shabbat. And if we don't, and if we think, no big deal, who has the time for this, and so on and so forth, then when the day comes and we realize, I should have done more, I could have done more, I would have done more. So let's enjoy it now while we have the appreciation for it. Bezrat Hashem. It says, we're back to Halachot and Hadlakat Nerot, and like this. Lighting the candles has to be where we're going to eat the Seudah, right? Because that's the idea, that we have to have pleasure, we have to have the light to eat there. Did we mention this halacha before, that if it's a summer, and they decide to go out, that's still fine, because they still have to enjoy the meal. Okay, there's the mitzvah of lighting the candles is upon men and women, right? So therefore, let's say there is a single man living in an apartment. He has to light, of course, he has to light and make a bracha. We're going to come more and see different cases of where and when a person should be lighting. Now, Chachamim said though that a woman should be lighting. Why? Because she is more at home, right? The guy is outside working, I don't know, whatever it is, and the wife is usually the one that takes care of these things, the general things that happen at home. So that's why, being that she's the one that she's oseket, she's working in whatever the needs of the home is, so they put it on the wife to light the candle. There is more reason. Zohar Kadosh says that being that Chava caused Adam to sin. Chava gave Adam that fruit that he ate. So it says in Zohar HaKadosh that Adam HaRishon was the Nerot shel Olam. He was the light of the world. Because the Pasuk says, Ner Elokim Nishmat Adam. Ner Elokim Nishmat Adam, right? The light of Hashem is that neshama of Adam. And this caused that ner, that candle became dimmed. So in order to rectify that, that would be the rectification of that sin of Chava. As we know, Zohar says, everything relates back to that, to the sin of Adam HaRishon. And as a tikkun, as a rectification of that, it is more upon women to go ahead and light the candle. The Zohar continues, says that when the lady of the house is lighting the candle, and she's doing it bera'ava uv'chedvata. Ra'ava means ratzon, with goodwill, and with joy she does it, right? She's Bezrat Hashem going to be zocha lebanim kedoshim, to children that are holy, that they are going to light up the world with their Torah and their Yirat Shamayim.
What does that mean, that she should light it with?
That at the time that she's doing it, she has the inner joy. Her heart is like, feeling the joy and the happiness. She's doing it with a goodwill. Sometimes they say, oh, this is such a pain. Oh man, this is another thing I have to do. It happens. But when a person really appreciates it and understands that this is something that really it is what it is. It has this zechut. It says they're going to bring shalom into the world, right? And she will cause that her husband should have arichut yamim through this, and shanim tovot, and great years. So that's the quote from the Zohar HaKadosh. Right? Now, it says in Halachot brought down that it is enough to light a candle, one, right, for the whole family, right? We don't need to light multiple lightings, right? All we need is just one person lights for the family. As we mentioned, the takana was for shalom bayit, that there should be shalom and peace in the house, and as such, if a person, so now this is going against some groups, they say there is a mitzvah that every girl should light candles for Shabbat. That's not really very accurate. That's not the halakha. It says that there has to be shalom bayit in the house, and really it's only one per household, as long as there's where they eat. There's no mitzvah in Hosafa to add light. It's nice, but it's not a part of the mitzvah, and not everyone has that. And if a girl wants to light and make a baracha, she could light. But if she wants to light and make a baracha, that could be baracha levatara. That could be baracha levatara.
Are you talking about
We've had
non-married girls?
Not married girls that live at home. They live at home and they want to light candles, right? Along with the mother. They went to Ashkenazi schools, they went to Chabad schools, and over there, they promote, light, make a baracha, everyone should do that. They could light, but no baracha, that's certainly not.
Do they light with bracha?
What?
Do they light with bracha?
Yeah. So yes.
از چه سنی دختری که تو خونه هستن مثل دختر بچه 6 ساله از تا بالا تا وقتی که ازدواج کنن آیا میتونن شم روشن کنن بدون براخا؟
So the question is, they could light. If they want to light candles, if the girls want to light candles, they could light. Of course, any age. As long as they don't burn the house down, they could light, but they just have to be careful. No baracha. They have to know that, that would be a baracha levatara chas v'shalom. But there's no need. There's really no need, but if they want to do it, they could. They could do it. Not now. But let's say we have guests, right? We have the people that are guests. They're eating there by people's houses, right? We're gonna see later. Sometimes they have to light. Sometimes they don't have to light. We'll get to that. But at this point in time, we're dealing with the home, right? And the mitzvah midrabanan. The Chachamim made this mitzvah, taught us this mitzvah that there should be light, and that is one in the family. let's say there's a big room, there's a hall, and there's dinner there and everythh, and they already, people came and they lit a candle there, they made a baracha and they lit a candle, right? So now we Sephardim, we're there. And we want to go and light over there as well, right? We could light, but we cannot make a baracha, right? Again, we don't make a baracha on the increasing of the light. There's a light already, and if you want to add to the light, that's nice. But on that, we don't make a baracha. The custom of the Ashkenazim is that in such events, they do, even though many people are lighting in the same room, each one comes and says a baracha on the candle lighting.
So you just don't light if there's
could
like a
light.
Shabbaton and in the hall.
And everybody is lighting in the dining room. You could light if you like. That's fine, but don't make a baracha.
But it's not
Or no, it's not. Or be the first one there and make a baracha. We used to do that. So if you're the first person there and you make a baracha, let's say you're in a Shabbaton, right? And in the place that you're in, they don't let you light the candle in your room. Fire hazard. They say, like, chas v'shalom, I'm going to burn the place down. And so what can you do? And everybody's lighting in the dining room, right? So what should a Sephardi girl do, right? She could go ahead and go to her room and take one of these little night lamps, electric. Before you turn it on, say Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu v'sizvanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat, and turn it on. Baruch Hashem.
So which one's better?
Which one is better? This is better.
The bracha.
What?
The one with the bracha.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to light there, light. You want to, you really want to have a candle. We're gonna see having a candle with shem and zayit with olive oil is very good. Go ahead, do it over there without a baracha. But this, you could certainly make a baracha. According to Rav Ovadia, no problem. You could make a baracha and an electric lamp. Because remember, what's the reason? You want to have shalom bayit. You want to have light there, and here, Baruch Hashem, there's light.
So it's only ever one bracha per house.
Per household.
Unless you're lighting in different rooms, like if you're
Unless you're writing different. We're gonna see. I mean, her own daughters, no, they go after her. Mother lights, the daughters are with her.
How about daughter-in-law?
Daughter-in-law, if they don't live there, and okay, so here's the case. So the son and his wife, Baruch Hashem, they're guests by their in-laws, b'cheir b'gzareh, and so they're there, and so they want to light. So if they give them a room, special room to sleep in, then that's their room, and they could light a candle there. But if the room is too with a baracha, yes, that's the room. That's the room. That's going to be the place that they're going to sleep. Make sure that the candle will be on when it comes
Even
time.
the daughter at her mother's house.
And
Even
they don't.
a
She
married
doesn't live
daughter-
there, right? If the
married daughter
married daughter
at the
comes
mother's
to her
house.
mother's house, the same exact halacha, right? They're not somech al shulchanam. They're not part of their household, and they come now to visit for Shabbat, and they give them a room. They could go ahead and light the candle in their room, right? Now, what if the room is small? The room is small, and you have little kids, they're running around. And chas v'shalom, it could be dangerous. It's a fire hazard. So they have to see to it that it's in a safe place, maybe in a higher up place. Whatever it is, it should be safe, right? To make sure. But if it's not, if it's going to be trouble, then what they could do is, here's a good one. She could go ahead and light in the kitchen. Let's say the mother lights in the dining room, right? In the kitchen also, it's nice to have light. You would like to see, so she could light in the kitchen with a beracha.
Why the kitchen?
I'm just
And
giving an example.
And not the living room. It could be dining room, living room.
If they think they're going to be using the living room and there is not enough light and this is going to be a nice touch, yes, they could do that. They could use a different room, because this is only if their own room is not it's dangerous. It's chas v'shalom, it's a sakana, right? So that they could do, right?
Or should they do the nightlight with the bracha?
In their own room,
Yeah.
nightlight with a baracha, they could do that. They could do that as well.
Is there a preference of one over the other?
Preference is usually a candle, for other reasons. But if they can't do it, if there's no other way, and they would like to make a bracha, they could do. If not, Rav Yitzchak Yosef writes that when they were younger and they would go, younger, whatever, like 30 years ago, when they would go to Rav Ovadia's house, they would, so what would they do? Rav Ovadia would, so they couldn't light in their room that they were given. It was a very small house. They couldn't light in their room. So Rav Ovadia would tell his Rabbanit to light in the dining room with a bracha, and his daughter-in-law would light in the kitchen with a bracha. That's what they used to do. So now girls that go to seminary, right? They're away from their parents on Shabbat, and they're living in a dorm. What can they do, or what should they do? They should also light candles for Shabbat, right? In the room with a bracha. What happens? Let's say there are 4 girls in the room, so one will light with a bracha for everybody else. The other ones cannot, make a bracha, but she lights with a bracha, and that's perfect. They have to make sure that after the meal, this will last them. That after the meal, they come back to the room and they could use and benefit from this light. Otherwise, it won't work.
Do they have to have everybody in mind?
Everybody in the room.
In mind?
Usually, in all these seminaries and yeshivot, it's the same halacha. They also light in the dining room. They also light in the dining room for everybody else. So that girl that lived in the dining room shouldn't light in her room. It should be a different girl that lights, or a guy, girl, whatever, whichever case the case would be. It's the same thing applies. But whatever it is, if they light a candle, so that candle should be lasting until they come back to the room after the meal, so they could benefit from the light. And if it's the seminary says no, it's a fire hazard, we do not let you light candles in the room, then they could do that electric light. Yes.
So could the Ashkenazi girl be the one lighting for everyone, or does the Sephardi girl?
Doesn't matter.
And does everyone have to be there at the time of lighting, or?
Their roommates should be there, yeah, because she's lighting for them.
What if it's like?
But if they're not there, if they can't make it, obviously, as long as it's done, as long as it's done, we're good. If I remember correctly, Rav Yitzchak Yosef writes, Rishon LeZion now writes that if, I'm not sure about the electric light, he doesn't give that advice. I think it would make sense that they could do it in the room with the electric, but he doesn't give that option. He says if they can't light in the room, or there's no need for that light in the kitchen, then she should stand next to her mother-in-law or mother and listen to her making a baracha, and she could light, relying on her baracha. That's what he writes. Ashkenazim, they light with a baracha. He doesn't give that option, but it makes sense if the possibility, anyway, they need a little night light in the room, because you can't see where you're going. You need that for shalom bayit. Chas v'shalom, a person could fall. So if that light is needed, and they use this little electric light, that could work. That would be great. Let's say, again, your guests, couple is a guest, and they don't give her a room. They don't have a room to give them. So the father sleeps with the guys, and the mother sleeps with the girls. They're all one. These are in this room, and this and that. So over there, they don't have it. They don't have a special room. So where are they going to light? Obviously, she will stand by the ba'alat habayit, by the mother of the house, and just listen to her baracha, and then she could light without a baracha. Right? Ashkenazim, again, in this case, they would make a baracha. But for Sephardim, it's not. Let's say a family is invited out for dinner, and they're going to be coming back late at night, right, to sleep back at home. So they should make sure that the enough oil or candles are big enough that you make a bracha and you light the candles. Then by the time you come back, whatever, I don't know how long does it take, 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever it is, they should be able to benefit from the candles, right?
Can you benefit before you go?
Yeah, for sure. for sure.
So what does it mean?
It should be benefited because otherwise, just sit by them, watch them, enjoy them.
For how long?
Whatever, 10, 15 minutes at least. You know, I remember, like, you know, a lot of times we used to do this, and then my mother would like, let's have a fruit by the candles, like, you know, at least eat something, you know, to use it. That the point is to use them. Reading by candlelight on Shabbat on Friday night is prohibited, unless you have someone watching you, because you might say, oh, you know what, this light is not lighting so good. You might move it around, you might shake it so the light will be better. But other use, like, you know, usage that doesn't need too much of concentration is fine. Okay? Let's say a person is traveling, right? Person is traveling and he's going to be staying on the way, whatever, for Shabbat he's going to be away. Even though his wife is lighting the candles at home, right? He should definitely make a bracha, light a candle wherever he is staying. He's staying in a hotel, that's what he should do. Staying by someone's house and they give him a room, same thing. Harav Eliyahu Mani, he was the chief rabbi of Hebron about 100 years ago. He writes that the person came all the way from Yerushalayim to Hebron for Shabbat, and they gave him a room, and he asked me what to do, and I told him those days travel wasn't so, who knows what, and Hebron to Yerushalayim, that's already, oh my gosh, that's a long way. It's probably a whole day's ride on a donkey, not such a simple thing. So he came, and I told him he has to make a bracha and light the candles. That's what he writes. So anyway, the same thing here. If a person is traveling, that's what he should do. Let's say mother is in the hospital, Baruch Hashem, she gave birth, and the husband has nowhere to go. He goes to a friend's house near the hospital, you know, and he's staying there, and they give him a room. The same thing, same halacha. He makes a baracha, and he lights the candle. Let's say, chas v'shalom, the husband and the wife cannot see. They're blind. Do they light the candle on Shabbat?
Yes. No.
Oh.
Doesn't it still bring shalom, right?
Gemara Masachet Megillah says, Amar Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says, La'olam itzta'arti. I was always wondering about this pasuk. The pasuk says in Sefer Devarim, over the Sakram of the Kelalot, you know, that he says, V'hayitem ke'iver ha'megashesh ba'afela. You will be like a blind person that is finding his way in the darkness. So he says, I was wondering, what is this pasuk? What difference does it make for a blind person whether it's dark or light? So he says, one time I was going on the way, and I see this blind person walking, and he has a candle. So I went over to him, I said, Beni, my child, what does this candle do for you? He says, this candle, people will see me walking, they'll see that I can't see, and they'll come help me to make sure I don't fall into the pitfalls, I won't hit a wall, I won't, like, you know, they'll help me, they see. He says, now I understand, that's what the pasuk means. The pasuk means that we'll be like a blind who's walking in the darkness and he can't find his way. So anyway, that's the Gemara Masachet Megillah. What do we see from there? We see that blind people also, husband and wife, you know, it shouldn't happen. But if there is such a case, they do make a bracha because they do benefit from the light. You know, that other people will help them. Other people will help them not to bump into walls, and so on and so forth. So in that case, a lady should come and help her. The husband can't help her because he can't see either. So a lady should help her. I remember we had in Gilo, in the neighborhood we used to live in Israel, there was a couple that both of them couldn't see, but their children perfectly normal. I mean, like, you know, and they were such cute kids, and the children would bring the father to the Beit Knesset for prayer, and, like, you know, they would get him everything. They would run, like, you know, and it was like it was a whole, you know, we used to watch them grow, like, you know, over the years, and it was such an amazing thing. And they would bring the mother also to shul. It was like that was in our neighborhood in Gilo. They have, I mean, in Israel, they have a lot of things. They have a lot of help for the blind and, you know, for these things overall for handicap. Anyway, now if the husband could see, the wife can't see, so in that case, the husband should be the one that lights the candle. That would be better. However, if the husband wants to make his wife feel good, wants her to feel that enjoyment, that she's lighting a candle for Shabbat, and he wants her to make a bracha, that is fine. That is fine, to cause her joy and happiness. He could definitely allow her to make a bracha and light the candle, as we said. It does serve the purpose, and it's perfectly fine. Okay. What to light with, right? What can we use to light the candles? So let's see. First of all, the oil. The oil that is used, as it says in the Gemara, there are certain oils that the Mishnah mentions that they are no good. Why are they no good? Because these oils, they do not get absorbed into the wick. And they're going to be jumpy, or some of them smell bad. Whatever the case is, this guy is not going to be comfortable sitting by these lights. Either the light doesn't really hold well to the wick, and so on and so forth. So therefore, there's different oils that are mentioned that a person should not light with. And if a person by mistake used those oils, he cannot benefit from them on Shabbat. Because if he does, chas v'shalom, it could be that he might go ahead and start tilting this candle, and we are in trouble on Shabbat. Even if he makes someone stand on top of him, as a bodyguard, hey, buddy, just watch me, make sure I don't touch this thing, it won't help. It does not help, so he cannot use this. He has to walk away. We don't have these days. They're like shem and kik. They're different oils that we don't use. Same idea with the wicks. There are certain things like linen, wool, different things that we should not use for wicks. Because again, the same thing is the fire, literally I've seen it, it just sparks out, it's scary. The smell is by their tar. Tar could burn, but it really smells bad. You wouldn't want to use it on Shabbat. So these things, it's not so common, so we don't have to worry about it. However, one of the Chachamim says that a person should use shemen zayit, right? Because first of all, it does get absorbed really well to the wick. Secondly, there is more reason. It's a sign of Torah and it's a sign of Baracha. It says in the Gemara that a person that uses olive oil, these children, Bezat Hashem, will have arichut yamim, the vitamin chachamim, and so on and so forth. A lot of good barachot. So that the number one thing would be shemen zayit, olive oil. That's a best. However, if the person cannot find olive oil, they could use any oil. You could use vegetable oil. You could use soy oil. Any oil. Some of the heavier ones, I'd say like peanut oil, not so good because it doesn't really. It'll work, but it's not as good. So a person should try to stick to lighter ones,
Is it supposed to be extra virgin, or does it?
Nah, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, and lately there are these shaman zites that are mixed with canola oil or something.
It's fine. It's really, if a person wants to be careful, it's better. But it's fine. For Hanukkah, people are more careful, to make sure that it's only Shemen Zayit, because the miracle was done with Shemen Zayit. So people are trying to, for Shabbat, also, there is an inyan that it should be, there is such a thing that it should be Shemen Zayit. You should know, a lot of the oils that are made in many places, they don't have to write even that it's a blend, and it's problems. We had a shiur in the Kollel by Mordechai Kuber, Shlita. He was like the OU person in Israel. He gave us a whole long shiur about olive oil, how the process is, what the terminology means, and so on and so forth. It was beautiful. If you look for it on the YouTube channel Yachad Yujan, he has it. He has that shiur there. But yes, it would be better to use olive oil, shemen zayit. That would be certainly better. You know the famous story. The Gemara brings Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa comes to comes home and he sees his daughter is crying. He says, "My daughter, why are you crying?" She says, "Oh, I made a mistake. I mixed up the container of the vinegar with the container of the oil, and I used vinegar for the lighting the Shabbat candle." And he says, "What are you worried about? Whoever said that the olive oil should burn will say that the vinegar should burn." And it says over there, this in Gemara Masechet Ta'anit, and it's saying this thing stayed lit, and they brought from it to use for Havdalah. So the Mefarshim asked, I'm like, come on, leave the poor thing alone. It's a nice story, we love it. But he asked, how she should have been sad because she made the Baracha Levatala. Before the father came, this thing would have been put out. Are you kidding? It was his zechut that this thing stayed on. Otherwise, in 2 minutes, this thing would have died. And it's a Baracha Levatala. She made a Baracha on something that is not going to stand. And they go through it. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing that they learn a lot of halachot even from there. That the same thing happens with electricity. What happens? Electricity. How does a bulb work? There's an amount of oxygen in there, right? That this thing stays lit. Imagine if the glass breaks, this light will be put out. So that would be like the vinegar. Follow? Yeah. Just like this vinegar is not going to be, it's not ra'ui, it's not fitting to stay lit. Same thing here, this metal that's burning, you guys all know only LED lights, but it used to be, years ago, it was the light bulbs that was called incandescent lights. Like, where they had metal thing, and it burns. Anyone?
Filaments.
What?
Filaments.
Yeah.
That's what they're called.
I thought they were called incandescent lights. Oh, the inner thing is filaments? Okay. So that thing burns actually. But if the glass is broken, it's not going to work.
But wouldn't that fall into the same category of not being able to use the light because you didn't use the proper...
No, that's fine. We see the light's perfect, right? You don't have to worry about it. Oh, what am I going to do? It's not giving proper light.
With the vinegar.
Oh, the vinegar?
Yeah.
Well, I guess Zechut of Rabbi Chanel Mendoza, this thing lit pretty well. Right. And Mishnah doesn't mention don't light with vinegar. So very good still. Now, as far as... why did I mention that? We were talking about... Oh, so how about the candles, right? You have a wick candle. Can one use a wick candle? It's interesting. Rabbi Saadia Gaon writes that a person should not use a wick candle.
What's a wick candle?
Wick
Candle with a wick.
Oh, wax. I'm sorry. There's a wax and there's a wick, and there's a wax candle. I'm sorry.
A regular candle.
Wick candle. Every candle has a wick. I'm sorry. Here, Rabbi Saadia Gaon already writes that a person should not use that.
So why do they sell like this Shabbat?
Okay, so that's what he says. There's many others that says it's fine, and the halacha is that it's fine. Not only that, the new candles, the paraffin candles, like that they make these days, they're better than good. They light very well. In some ways, better than the oil candles even. So that's perfectly fine. One could use it, but still the preference goes to olive oil. Olive oil, other oils, then comes candles. Right. Wicks already we don't have to talk about because most of the wicks that they sell out there, they're all good. You have the floating wick and you have the regular wick. Either is good. Some want to say the floating wick is a problem because it has a wax around it and so on and so forth. There's no problem at all. There's another thing that some people do. They light the candle first. They put it out so that the next time when you are going to light it actually with a baracha, it's going to light well. Rabbi writes you don't have to worry about it. We don't have to do that. You know what I'm talking about? It says, because the Mishnah, it says, hiv hava, they have to do hiv huv. That means they would light it. So now the wick, when you put it out, the wick is going to be ready to accept the fire again, much better. He says, you don't have to worry about it. These days, they're all perfectly fine, and there is no need to worry. So therefore, we took care of the oil, we took care of the wicks. What's the next thing? Oh.
Water.
Very good, thank you. First of all, a person is allowed to put water, should put even, it's better, especially in Hanukkah, and over here also. You put water, and then you put the oil. Right? This way you are elevating the oil. Your intention is only to elevate the oil. Your intention is not that this should cause that it should turn, that it should put out the fire, and especially if you're doing it from before, and also you're doing it, by the way, if you don't put water, if it's a glass case, that glass case will shatter sometimes. When you don't have water in the bottom, once the wick gets to the bottom of the oil, chas v'shalom, it could shatter. Most of the ones that are making nowadays, the bottom is much thicker and it won't shatter. I don't know if you noticed, these glass things, they make the bottom thicker, so when the oil does actually get there, they shouldn't shatter, but still, it's still better. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Usually, like